In a decision that will be debated for decades, the U.S. Supreme Court has delivered a verdict that will echo through the halls of power and the markets of the world. This is not just a legal ruling, it's a turning point that will shape the future of international commerce and American politics for years to come. The U.S. Supreme Court has overturned President Trump's sweeping tariffs, sending shockwaves through global trade. The decision immediately reverberated from Washington to Wall Street, and from the ports of Asia to the factories of Europe, as leaders and investors scrambled to understand the new landscape. The ruling marks a dramatic check on presidential power, signaling that even the highest office is subject to the Constitution and the courts. It also sets up one of the largest financial reimbursements in American history, with billions of dollars at stake for businesses and consumers alike. Markets worldwide reacted with volatility as businesses and governments scrambled to adapt. Stock prices swung wildly, currencies fluctuated, and trade partners rushed to reassess their strategies in light of the sudden policy reversal. For years, these tariffs were seen as a permanent fixture, adding over $1,200 to the average American family's expenses. Everyday goods, from electronics to groceries, became more expensive, straining household budgets and fueling debates about the true cost of protectionism. Now, the unwinding of this policy promises a complex process of refunds and price adjustments. Businesses must navigate a maze of paperwork, while families and consumers wait to see if relief will come at the checkout counter or in their next tax return. As of December 15, 2025, we are witnessing a pivotal moment in economic history. The headlines are changing by the hour, and the world is watching to see how America's economy and its trading partners will respond to this unprecedented shift. The Supreme Court's decision doesn't just end the tariff era, it launches a new chapter defined by legal battles, political fallout, and a global scramble to rewrite the rules of trade. As governments, corporations, and ordinary people adjust to this new reality, the true impact of this historic ruling is only beginning to unfold. To truly grasp today's Supreme Court decision, we need to look back at the complex chain of events that brought us to this pivotal moment in American history. The roots of this case stretch back decades, but the most significant turning point came during the Trump administration, when economic nationalism took center stage. President Trump's America First agenda invoked the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, a law originally designed for national emergencies to justify sweeping tariffs. The administration argued these tariffs were essential to protect U.S. industries, jobs, and national security from what it saw as unfair foreign competition. These tariffs, especially those targeting China, ignited a global trade war. Allies like the European Union and India were also caught in the crossfire, leading to rising tensions and retaliatory measures that rippled through the world economy. The Trump administration insisted these measures would revive American manufacturing, create jobs, and generate billions for the U.S. Treasury. Supporters pointed to new investments and a renewed focus on made-in-America products. But by mid-2025, tariffs covered the vast majority of imports. Companies faced tough choices: absorb higher costs, pass them on to consumers through price hikes, or move operations overseas. Everyday Americans began to feel the pinch at the checkout line, and some businesses struggled to stay afloat. While the Treasury collected nearly $90 billion and the trade deficit narrowed, the pain was not evenly shared. American farmers, hit hard by retaliatory tariffs on their exports, faced mounting losses. The government responded with a $12 billion bailout, but uncertainty lingered in rural communities. Contradictions in the policy and mounting economic hardship fueled public outcry and legal challenges. Protests erupted and businesses, workers, and consumers alike demanded answers as factories closed and recession fears grew. The aggressive expansion of tariffs didn't just affect the U.S., it sent shockwaves through global supply chains. Shipping delays, shortages, and rising costs became the new normal, fundamentally altering how goods moved around the world. In this climate of economic uncertainty and legal controversy, the stage was set for a historic courtroom showdown, one that would ultimately decide the fate of Trump's tariffs and reshape the future of American trade policy. The legal battle over tariffs became a test of presidential authority versus congressional power. Lawsuits from importers like Costco and Bumblebee Foods argued that Trump's use of IEEPA for long-term trade policy was unconstitutional, bypassing Congress's explicit power over foreign commerce. The U.S. Court of International Trade and the Court of Appeals both ruled against the administration, calling the tariffs illegal. The Supreme Court agreed to hear the case, with justices expressing deep skepticism about the president's claimed powers. Could any trade imbalance be declared a national emergency? The pointed questioning signaled discomfort with using emergency powers for sweeping economic policy. The stage was set for a landmark decision on the limits of executive authority. The outcome would reshape the balance of power in U.S. trade policy. In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court ruled that President Trump's sweeping global tariffs, imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, represented an unconstitutional overreach of executive authority. The case drew national attention, as it questioned the limits of presidential power in times of perceived crisis and challenged the boundaries of emergency declarations. The majority opinion, delivered by the court, made it clear that emergency powers are intended for addressing specific, immediate crises, not for fundamentally reshaping U.S. trade policy on a long-term or indefinite basis. The justices emphasized that the law was never meant to serve as a blank check for the executive branch to bypass Congress whenever it saw fit. By issuing this decision, the court reasserted Congress's constitutional authority as the primary regulator of foreign commerce. The ruling set a powerful precedent, placing new limits on how presidents can use emergency declarations to enact sweeping economic measures, and reaffirmed the importance of checks and balances in the American system. Legal scholars and constitutional experts across the country hailed the ruling as a vital and necessary check on presidential power. Many argued that it restored a crucial balance between the branches of government, ensuring that no single office could unilaterally control the nation's economic fate. Politically, the reaction was immediate and intense. President Trump warned that the decision could lead to economic disaster and weaken America's position on the world stage. Meanwhile, critics of the tariff celebrated what they saw as a long-overdue return to the rule of law and constitutional order. The decision now compels future administrations to work directly with Congress when shaping trade policy, promising a more stable and predictable approach to international economic relations. This shift could have far-reaching effects on how the U.S. negotiates and enforces trade agreements in the years to come. In Washington, the ruling has ignited fierce debate among lawmakers, policy experts, and the public. The controversy over the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches, especially regarding trade, is far from over and will likely shape political discourse for years. Through this historic decision, the Supreme Court has sent a clear message: the Constitution's separation of powers remains a cornerstone of American democracy, and no president is above its limits. With the tariff struck down, the U.S. government now faces the daunting task of refunding up to $100 billion to American companies. Major importers like Costco, Nvidia, and Revlon had already filed claims to secure their refunds. Customs and Border Protection must now process a flood of claims, verifying payments and calculating interest, a bureaucratic challenge with no precedent. Legal experts say swift action by companies will help streamline the process, but the timeline for payouts remains uncertain. The refunds could provide a massive cash infusion for businesses, but the government may seek ways to offset the lost revenue. The real question: who gets paid, how much, and when? The financial fallout from this decision is just beginning. The Supreme Court's decision will be felt by everyday Americans. Tariffs acted as a hidden tax, raising prices on everything from electronics to groceries. With tariffs gone, prices are expected to fall, offering relief to households squeezed by inflation. However, retailers may not pass on savings immediately, and some may use the change to restore profit margins. For manufacturers, the end of tariffs means renewed foreign competition, especially in steel, aluminum, and agriculture. Farmers battered by lost export markets may finally see opportunities reopen as trade normalizes. The debate over protectionism versus free trade is set to reignite, with real consequences for jobs and investment. The impact will ripple from supermarket aisles to factory floors and farm fields. This ruling could restore stability and opportunity for millions, but the transition will be anything but simple. The Supreme Court's ruling has upended Washington, dealing a blow to Trump's signature policy and sparking fierce partisan debate. The White House has vowed to fight back, framing the decision as a threat to national sovereignty. Democrats and anti-tariff Republicans see vindication, arguing for a return to rules-based, negotiated trade. The Senate had failed to end the tariffs legislatively. Now the courts have done it, deepening political divides. The debate now shifts to what replaces the tariffs and how to support affected workers and businesses. The ruling will shape the 2028 presidential race and force every candidate to take a stand on America's role in the global economy. The legal battle is over, but the political and economic fight is just beginning. As experts assess the fallout, the focus turns to the logistics of refunding billions and the broader impact on global trade. Customs and Border Protection faces an unprecedented administrative challenge, with no playbook for such massive reimbursements. The removal of tariffs won't instantly restore old trade patterns. Supply chains and global relationships have permanently shifted. Legally, the ruling is seen as a landmark for the separation of powers, forcing future presidents to respect Congress's authority over trade. The administration may seek new ways to protect U.S. industries, hinting at further trade disputes ahead. The underlying tensions that sparked the tariff war remain unresolved. The world is watching. Will this ruling lead to renewed cooperation, or simply a new kind of conflict? The next chapter in global trade is unwritten. The only certainty is change. The Supreme Court's decision ends a turbulent era of economic nationalism and opens the door to a new approach. Businesses must now adapt supply chains and pricing in a world without sweeping tariffs. Consumers should watch for price changes and hold companies accountable for passing on savings. Politically, the challenge is to move beyond division and craft a fair, effective trade strategy through negotiation and international agreements. The ruling is a testament to the resilience of democratic institutions and the rule of law. Even the most powerful office is bound by the Constitution. The future of global trade depends on vigilance, accountability, and cooperation. The Supreme Court has opened the door. Now, it's up to leaders and citizens to build a stronger foundation for the 21st century.